Hey everyone, and welcome. Now, if you're a dive professional, an instructor, a shop owner, you know you're always on the lookout for that next big growth area for your business. So today, we're going to dig into some really fascinating market data and try to answer the question, is side-mount diving the opportunity you've been searching for?
So this is the big question, right? This is what we're framing our whole analysis around. Is side-mount just this tiny, technical niche for a handful of hardcore cave divers, or is it a major untapped market that your business can really tap into? You know what? The data we're about to walk through is going to give us a surprisingly clear answer.
Okay, first things first. To understand any market, you've got to understand the customer. It's that simple. So, let's build a profile based on hard data of who the modern side-mount diver actually is. And I've got to say, some of these results might just surprise you.
Let's start with age. Just look at this breakdown. Over 2/3 of the people currently diving side-mount are between 35 and 54 years old. So think about that. This isn't the younger, budget-conscious crowd. No, we're talking about your prime demographic here. Experienced divers with disposable income who are seriously invested in their passion.
And it's not just their age. Check out their experience level. Nearly 79%, let's call it 8 out of 10, are already certified tech divers. So what this tells us loud and clear is that your target customer isn't a beginner. They're seasoned divers who are actively looking for the next challenge, the next piece of gear, the next cert card to add to their wallet. They are, quite frankly, your ideal high-value customer.
And this is a massive indicator of just how committed they are. For over 61% of them, side-mount isn't just a thing they do sometimes for a specific dive. No way. It is their primary, their preferred way to dive. That points to a super loyal customer base that's going to consistently spend money on side-mount training, side-mount gear, and side-mount travel.
So, look, knowing who they are is half the battle, for sure. But now, let's dig into the why. Figuring out their motivations is absolutely key if you want to effectively market your courses and your retail gear to them. And what really jumps out from the data here is that it's this interesting mix of, technical precision and just practical comfort. The top reasons, they're what you'd expect. Better valve access, getting through tight restrictions, classic tech benefits. But look closer. Flexibility and ease of entry and exit are right up there near the top. So it's about performance, yes, but it's also about convenience.
Okay, and this next number, this is huge. This one stat absolutely shatters the single biggest misconception about side-mount. When you hear side-mount, what do you picture? Tight caves, right? Or deep wrecks. But the data tells a completely different story. Nearly 90%, think about that, almost every side-mount diver uses their gear in open water.
You know what that means? It means the biggest market for side-mount isn't in some far-flung, remote cave system. It's literally in your own backyard. You could be running side-mount courses, guided dives, and gear demos on your local reefs. This isn't some fringe overhead environment specialty. It is a mainstream opportunity, plain and simple. All right, so training is one side of the coin, but what about retail? For any of you running a dive shop, understanding what gear these committed divers are actually buying is, well, it's pure gold. Let's take a look. I mean, the data here doesn't lie. It's crystal clear. X-Deep has a commanding 60% of the market. They are the dominant player, period. But you can see that Apex and Dive Rite are also really significant. So as a retailer, this slide is basically your shopping list. If you want to get serious about serving this market, stocking these top 3 to 5 brands is just a statistically sound business decision.
Okay, so we've got a really solid picture of the current side-mount diver. But what about growth? What's the potential here? Let's pivot now and use the data to figure out who your next customer is.
And that future market, well, it's probably a lot bigger than you think. This right here is the number to remember. Nearly 2/3, 65.6% of experienced non-side-mount divers we surveyed are actively thinking about trying it. The interest is there, it's real, it's significant, and it's basically just waiting for a dive professional like you to turn that interest into a sale.
And here's the secret to reaching them. Check this out. There's a subtle but really vital difference in what motivates current divers versus prospective ones. The divers already doing it, they're focused on technical mastery, valve access, better trim. But look at the potential divers on the right. What's drawing them in? Practical benefits, flexibility, and ease of entry and exit. And that little difference, that's your golden ticket for marketing. You don't sell them on the super technical details, you sell them on a more comfortable, more flexible, and frankly, a more enjoyable way to go diving.
All right, so we've thrown a ton of data at you. Let's pull it all together. What does this actually mean for your business? How do you turn all these numbers and charts into a real strategy? Let's distill it down into a clear, actionable plan.
Here it is, nice and simple. Step 1, focus your marketing on your existing experienced and tech-certified divers. They're your low-hanging fruit. 2, get your retail house in order. Stock the brands they're already buying, like X-Deep and Apex. 3, market and promote open water Sidemount. Courses, fun dives, the whole shebang, because that's where, remember, almost 90% of the action is. And finally, step 4, when you're talking to new prospects, emphasize flexibility and comfort. Don't just hit them with technical jargon.
So let's just leave it with this. The evidence we've looked at today is pretty compelling. There's a clear profile of a high-value customer who's already bought in, and there's a huge interested pool of future customers just waiting. The question really isn't about the market anymore. The market's ready. The question is about you. Is your business